4 times I covered my head and went potty.
Oh, no. So then the next morning, tell them about the next morning, Mom.
Well, they told me I was going to be released on my own, I can't say that word.
Recognizance.
Okay. And I was surprised. Whoa, is that right? And so, well, I went with the flow. So you're going to release me? Another deputy, asked me if I had any money. Well, why didn't you bring money with me? I said, what do you got here that I can spend it on?
So then you did, and then they just put you outside,
I waited around until I got a ride. Right. And she came back and told me, oh, well, they were going to pass the hat and call a bus, but they called Melinda and my daughter.
And they didn't let you have a phone call to call someone right away, right?
Oh no, I did my phone call, and the deputy was here in the house.
Yeah.
So,
but when you got out of jail, they just kind of, here you go, okay, bye.
Yep.
Figure it out.
And you were only in jail for what, 12 hours? How long were you there?
Oh, well, we got there probably about 9:45, and it was like 2 or 3 in the afternoon.
Wow.
I'm thinking it was in the afternoon. I don't know exactly what time.
The thing I'm wrestling with is that there was no good reason to take you to jail. They didn't set a bond. You weren't a danger to yourself or others.
Was there ever actually an arraignment that took place, or they dismissed this? Once you got your card.
Well, it was the next day. We went to see Dr. Mink, who had approved her chronic pain, her depression, anxiety, and had
my first card.
Your first card.
Yep.
He scolded her a little bit for not doing this sooner, and immediately filled the paperwork out. We mailed that the next day. He accidentally spelled her name without the Z in the middle, so that first paperwork was denied. But then it was 2 days after we had to go to a hearing. We went in front of the judge, and again, I'm sorry, I don't remember his name, but it's on the paperwork. I don't have any of that in front of me. He was the only one that I can say that had, and Mom's public attorney, Roy Moore, who seemed to have their wits about them with this case. He looked at her and said, next case is Dolores Alton. She walked up front. He asked her to state her name. He stated the charges and, do you understand your rights? And Mom said yes. He's like, have you spoken to a lawyer? She said, not yet. And she's like, he right away, I'm entering a plea of not guilty for you until you can speak to your lawyer, next case. It was quick. His body language, he was appalled she was even there. He was the judge who chose not to post any bond. I believe that's the way it happened. And when the Artabutis, I can't remember her name, the district attorney, prosecuting attorney, we thought that when they first had Roy Morris, the lawyer, our lawyer, said when he talks to her, it'll probably be done. She decided to push it forward, and then there was another court date. That was last week, Friday was that date. Thursday, I called him and I said, "Where are we at? What time exactly should we be there?" And that's when he informed us that the case was dismissed as long as Mom got her renewal of her card, and we could prove it. I faxed the paperwork to him, and we received the order from the same judge that the case was dismissed.
Which is pretty cool. The only thing I have to pay is $12 for staying all night at the jail.
You know what would be really
we got to
nice
do that so much.
if the police were actually knowledgeable.
I don't feel like I have to pay it.
I agree.
If the police were actually knowledgeable about the entire Medical Marijuana Act, then they would realize you don't actually need to have your card in order to be a patient.
Right. Right.
I mean,
they get immunity. That's the thing. Listen. It exemplifies the circumstance where a technical violation would result in an arrest. There's no penalties that if you violate the MMA, this happens. It's not like that. Like if you're outside of the limitations, your card expires, you have 2.6 ounces, whatever. It doesn't mean that you become felonized or it's a crime. There's a big difference. I know that the default is to charge individuals with as if marijuana is illegal, but there's got to be some kind of this, because this case is exactly why you should have the deference and discretion to let it, or better training.
Right. If not the,
like I agree, it's probably not the individual officer. She's probably a nice person, but they don't know any different. They don't have the ability to exercise their discretion. Instead, they arrest and then they let you go early and charge you $12 for the overnight stay, and that's like, thank you very much. Can I have another? That's ridiculous.
Michael, I completely disagree with you. What type of person would do this normally? What type of person says, geez, I walked up to this woman's house, and she's obviously using it medically, and I smell it, and then I'm going to arrest her. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Did I say it wasn't crazy? Why are you arguing with me? I said that they're terribly trained. They have no discretion.
Right, but the training piece is the part I'm taking issue with, because it's called being a decent human being.
Common sense.
Mm-hmm. They're not there to be decent human beings.
Right.
They've taken an oath to enforce the laws. They have not taken an oath to serve and protect.
Right. We had this discussion earlier. It's they're there to follow laws, and then you compound that on the fact that she probably is a rookie officer, has no experience, and all she wants to do is make sure that she doesn't break the rules, because that's what she's been taught, and so she's following. What really bothers me the most, beyond human decency here, obviously, is that how does a prosecutor not exercise their discretion? Like, how is this not that circumstance where a prosecutor is willing to say, okay, maybe there's a technical issue here, but, I mean, come on. If she wasn't a patient, she used to be a patient.
Well, it was the perfect storm, though. You had the cop, and then you also had Dolores, who didn't have the experience either with the situation, and opened the door. So everything was just set up, right? Yeah.
But still, there's a deference to the officer's decision.
Right.
Like somebody should have said, like the sergeant on duty should have come in and said, "What are you doing? Let her go now."
Because isn't every officer going to be
or the prosecutor should shut up in court and said, "Oh my God, is she a defendant? And we'll just nully pros." You should have to wait a week. They have the authority to bring the charges, dismiss the charges. It was so obvious. That is the problem. The police are not the ultimate actors. It is the court, and especially the prosecutor, that is the duty to not win every time, not defend the police, their witnesses, but to seek justice. This is not that. This is a major problem, and the reason why the system is broken. Dolores, good for you for telling them how you feel.
Hey, sir?
Yeah.
Right, but look at the big picture here. This, Mom has always said, everything happens for a reason. We now have a face to change this rule. We need to get everybody out to vote, and the people who have been, I had a problem with my mom, and then I learned that it's actually helping her. And watching this over the years heal her body, and there's so many people doing the same thing, using this medically, and ashamed of doing it and hiding it because of these laws that are in place that are completely.
Hiding it from your own family. I hid it from my stepsister. I hid it from my aunt. But bless my aunt's heart, she's right behind me. She's got
everybody's supporting you. Everybody's supporting you. And the aspect of shame is the one thing that will kill you. If you're living in shame for any reason, you have to. My mother is going to help people stand up, get out to vote, and lose that stigma of shame of using this wonderful plant medicinally.
By the higher power.
Totally.
Yeah.
We have an opportunity, instead of complaining about what the government's doing, Let's band together, get people out to vote, stop blaming people, forgive people for the mistakes they've made, and pull together as one unit here to make a change.
Hey, Dolores.
Right, we have to stick together because we are the people.
Hey, Dolores, this is Jamie. We spoke on Tuesday, actually, and in November, Proposition 1, the Coalition to Regulate Marijuana Like Alcohol has made it possible for the voters to legalize cannabis. And had this already passed, your specific situation shouldn't have been any kind of a concern for this police officer and would have been avoided. So just want to hear about your encouragement for people this November to vote yes on Prop 1.
Right. Get out there and vote. Do your duty.
Make sure you're registered to vote.
Pardon me?
Make sure you're registered to vote. Go online and see if you're registered. Find out where your polling station is.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Tell your friends.
Yes. Get a ride. Find a ride.
Jamie Lowell will drive you.
Absolutely, yeah. You guys need a ride, I'll come get you, no problem.
He's still hiding his cannabis use, though.
He'll be there.
I'm a little under the radar with the cannabis use thing, but I'll still go along for the ride. But, hey, you guys, we really appreciate it. Thank you very much for your support, and thank you for willing to discuss this after that incident. And, Dolores, I'm glad you're feeling a lot of support from people.
Can I say one more?
Yes, absolutely. Go ahead.
I'd like... Right. Now, Mark and I are not out to get any fame or gain or anything other than to help the people.
And Mom is not asking for a single cent for this. She doesn't want any she's been thrust into the spotlight. One of the most beautiful people I'm a little biased, but my mother is amazing. She's done things through her life. She's been through things, unspeakable things that would have killed other people. She's taught me so many things, and I'm so proud of her.
I'm proud of you too, sweetheart.
I am, Mama.
Proud of you guys,
Thank you.
It sounds like there's a whole room full of you.
Yep, and we are all in support.
Extremely.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
I thank you very much. So you have a good day or a good night.
Yeah, well, have a good night, you guys too. And again, your message is so inspiring. Go ahead, Mark. I'm sorry.
And Mom's been without her marijuana since the beginning of this. So she's managing her pain the way when she's run out of marijuana before, and it affects her body. So if I'm angry at anything, is saying my mother was going to be raped in jail, putting that fear in her head, and then making her go without all this time, taking her pipes and everything. And we can't replace any of that until this card shows up, which should be any time now.
I hope that comes soon, and that is so absurd.
Mark, according to...
Go ahead, Dolores.
Yeah.
According to my lawyer, he said I could, I'm legal, go ahead and smoke. He said, go ahead and smoke, Dolores. You're legal now. They're not going to bother you. Well, I don't know if that's true or not, but I have had to sneak a couple of tokes because I was so sick. I was upset.
You just feel better.
Sorry.
It's okay. Hey, none of us are judging, that's for sure.
No, we're not judging.
Well,
we want you to feel better.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it, Mark. Really appreciate it, Dolores.
Thank you.
Have a great night, you guys. Thank you.
Great night.
Bye.
Thank you, honey.
Thank you.
Bye.
Well, that was fun.
Blue, you're my boy!
Really interesting.
That was a fun call. She sounds like a fun lady.
Yeah, but what she went through was definitely not.
No, that was not
This was
fun.
really ridiculous.
That was not
absolutely
fun.
ridiculous.
That was trailer park bullshit they pulled on her.
Yep.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah.
I don't know what.
Josh seemed like he was kind of defending her, the cop, to me a little bit.
A little bit.
I think you want to try and present a scenario where, they're not pointing a finger. They're not being accusatory. They're just relating their story, and they're not trying to be biased in the way they do it. So he offered the other